UFC style ASMR whisper ramble video. This video will be a little different than my other ones because it's not really UFC related. We are talking about a UFC fighter in this video, but it doesn't really relate to the UFC. We're not doing predictions or anything like that, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about all the crazy shit that's been happening with our boy Conor McGregor, one of the definitely the most popular fighter to ever compete out of the UFC. Yeah, I'll have my 318 prediction video out within the next 2 days. I'm also gonna do another UFC style video. Not sure exactly what that will look like yet. But yeah, I hope everyone has been having a great week, great day, great summer so far. I just went yesterday. Me and some friends, we went to the mountains here in Washington, and we actually visited a cave. Okay, guys, we went inside of a cave, and one thing I'll say that's pretty interesting about caves is that, it could be 90 degrees, it could be 1,000, okay, maybe not 1,000, it could be like 110 degrees outside, but the cave is still going to be cold. So we went there on like a 90-degree day, and it was like, I don't know, something like 40 degrees inside the cave. You can see your breath, your fingers get all numb and cold and stuff like that, so that was pretty cool. We visited the longest lava tube in all of North America, guys. So, enjoyed the day. I don't enjoy the summer as much. I don't like the heat too much. I like bundling up in a sweatshirt, in a puffer jacket, getting all nice and cozy and drinking coffee and hot chocolate and stuff like that. So that's my kind of thing. But I've been enjoying the weather as much as I can. Paddle boarding, fishing, hiking, all that good stuff. So some other news in the channel. I am starting a new job here within a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be working at a bank, guys. I'm going to be working at a bank. So I'm going to be doing loan processing and all that fun jazz. But the good news is that I will be able to have Saturdays off now. So I'll be able to actually really sit down and watch the cards, because the past fight night and pay-per-views that I've been watching, they've all been like while I'm at work, so I won't really get to fully watch the fight all the way through and see all the moments that happen. And then there's also a good amount of fights that I'll just miss, you know what I mean? So that will be pretty good. That will allow me to really give my full analysis, expert breakdown of these fights. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to talk about Conor McGreggy today. Conor McGregor, he's been in the news. He's been wilding out. I know you guys have heard of what's been going on. If you haven't, I'm going to educate you. But yeah, we're going to talk about that today. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. So going over the most recent news, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, but I guess he sent a unsolicited photo of his cock. Okay, guys, I'm gonna just say it straight up. I'm not gonna say wiener or penis. I'm gonna say his cock. Okay, he sent a full body naked picture to this rapper, and I don't know this rapper, Azalea Banks, right? She's probably one of those sexy red Megan Thee Stallion, what's her name, Ice Spice type ladies, making some rap songs. But I've never heard of her before this. But I think it was on Conor McGregor's birthday as well, and she basically dropped the DMs of them. I don't know if it's on Instagram or Twitter or what. But I believe he sent her 2 photos, full body naked photos, and I haven't seen the uncensored pictures, guys. I just seen it on like Reddit, and I think it was mainly on Reddit, and it blocked it out, but I guess he had like some weight attached to it or something like that, like a weight attached to his wiener. I don't know how you do that, honestly. That sounds painful, unless it's like a 1 pound weight, right? But even then, I feel like that might mess some things up. Could tear the cartilage down there or something like that. But yeah, he sent that picture to her, and I don't know if they had some kind of relationship beforehand, or if they were talking beforehand or anything like that. But it doesn't seem like it. It seems like Conor just had a thing. He wanted that black mama, and yeah, he sent that picture. So pretty crazy stuff from Conor McGregor there, and yeah, he's been kind of unhinged for some years now. I know a couple years ago, a bunch of people thought he was going to come back and fight Michael Chandler, and I thought at first he would do that, but then after a year, and Michael Chandler was still calling him out, and they did the Ultimate Fighter, I was just like, I don't think this guy ever wants to get in the cage again. He's so rich, and some people can be rich and they can keep fighting and find purpose from it, but he seems like he's not that type of person. Like he made his mark, and so now he's just kind of going off the walls a little bit. And then on top of that, I think her name is Azalea Banks. On top of that, him sending a dick pic, unsolicited, with a weight attached to it. I guess he also was seen at the beach with some random girl. She wasn't even really that bad. She was maybe like a 5. She was very mid. But he was seen at the beach, holding her, kissing her on the lips, things like that. And that's not the first time that Conor has been seen with basically cheating on his wife, because he's still with his original girlfriend, or wife now, and they have kids together and things like that. But he's been seen a lot of times, kind of macking on girls at the club and doing this and that and the other thing. And so this is just recurring Conor McGregor behavior, and it's kind of insane because it's not like John Jones, where he's not beating his wife, he's not getting in legal trouble that much, but he's just kind of out here wilding, right? And so I think it's definitely not a good look. Okay, if you're Conor McGregor, you could probably get any female, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be going out here and showing your wiener to these rappers, right? So, and then on top of that, those 2 things that have happened very, very recently that have been caught in the public eye. He also, I think it was like a month or 2 ago, he was seen in the club hitting a dude with a 1-2 combo. I don't know if he knocked him out, but he definitely landed a pretty good shot on him. And yeah, so that was another thing. Those are the most recent things I remember. And then on top of that, there was a time, this happened a couple years ago, but he was at a NBA game, I believe during the playoffs. I think it was the Denver Nuggets versus someone else. And essentially this guy went into some random public bathroom with a lady, and his security was like blocking off the bathroom essentially and not letting anyone in. So we can imagine what happened in that restroom, guys. But it ain't pretty. Okay, they weren't sparring in that restroom. That's all I gotta say. Maybe they were drilling some drills, some fight drills, but it's not the kind of fight drills that we see in the UFC. Alright, guys, so that was a crazy situation too, because I'm like, you're Conor McGregor, for Christ's sake, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Why are you going into some public restroom in an NBA arena, right? So that classic, the notorious, no pun intended, the notorious moment where he punched an old man at a bar. The old man was just sitting down and he probably said something to Conor, but Conor just hit him with a boom, and it wasn't able to knock him out. Hit him clean, hit him flush, but he couldn't knock the old man out. So that was another situation. So like I said, this dude is just kind of wildin', living his best life, whatever he thinks that is. You always see him at the club, you always see him kind of out doing crazy shit, and there's a lot of widespread speculation that he is on cocaine, and I don't doubt that at all. He's definitely on some kind of drugs. I don't think, if you look at his behavior, he talks a lot of times he will talk very, fast and aggressively. It'll, have that kind of, that fiery look in his face, right? He kind of clenches his teeth sometimes. So I definitely do think it's some kind of drug, whether that be Adderall, cocaine, methamphetamine, probably cocaine though, right? He also has a lot of moments where he's sniffing and stuff like that, and when all those videos and stuff were first getting rumored and coming out, I was like, okay, maybe this dude, maybe it's just taken out of context and it's just kind of a joke. But at this point, it's no, this dude is definitely on some kind of drugs, and I don't think it's alcohol, because people don't usually act that wired on alcohol. And so he reached the pinnacle of the sport. He became 2-division champion. He had his fight with Floyd Mayweather, and he definitely became the most famous fighter to ever compete in mixed martial arts. And he was a very, very good fighter too. A lot of people kind of underrate prime Conor McGregor nowadays, just because he has lost hunger, and he's not the same fighter. He's not training the same, and he was still pretty young up until a couple of years ago. I think he's maybe 35 now or something. But he could have still been fighting in somewhat his prime form up until a couple of years ago. But yeah, in his prime, he was precise. He had great striking. He had decent takedown defense. He got taken down by Chad Mendes and stuff like that, but he was able to get up. But he had just this crazy aura, right? He had this crazy aura because he was also the goated trash talker. So many one-liners, so many moments that were made by Conor McGregor in interviews or press conferences and things like that. So he was on top of the world, and like I said, he's the most famous fighter to come out of mixed martial arts, so he's able to kind of market that brand. He made Irish 12 whiskey. He, got sponsorships. He tried to make a couple more companies, I remember McGregor Fast, which didn't really take off. But he is set for life, guys. He's set for life. He did what he wanted to do. He got the money and he lost the hunger for the sport. You see him hanging out on his yacht, hanging out at the clubs, doing all this crazy shit now. Got a cherry limeade rain. Guys, I love caffeine. Caffeine to me is what cocaine is to Conor McGregor. Okay, guys, so I'm trying to kind of quit a little bit, but like I said, he's a rich man. He did everything he wanted to do. So, he kind of is going off the rails, because me personally, right? Let's say I made it. Let's say I'm in Conor McGregor's shoes. I would probably definitely have my fair share of partying for the first couple of years, living it up. But at a certain point, it's becoming self-destructive, I believe. Even if he can function and he can kind of do other things on it, right? You look at all the things that's coming out in the news and stuff, and it's just not a good look for him, right? He could have been a good ambassador to the sport, a good role model, someone to look up to, but at this point he's really just not. He's kind of coked out. He's sending dick pics it's just, you've been to one party, you've been to them all. It's just the same mind-numbing, get wasted, go crazy with your friends, or, get laid. But it's just the same thing over and over again. And so, I think he has the opportunity to really do something with the position that he's in, become more successful. Like I said, become a good ambassador for the sport, but it's not even really about that. It's like, it's for himself. Like, he could do a lot more business stuff. He could be the face of some things. He could fight again if he wanted to, even though I think he's not going to do that. But I guess what he's choosing to do is just get coked out and, get into these kind of things. He did have a good, he had a good opportunity in Roadhouse. He was one of the main actors in Roadhouse. And I watched that movie, and it was kind of funny because Conor McGregor honestly did a good job in acting, but I think it's because he was pretty much playing himself. Like, he didn't really have to put on some kind of character. He was just being himself, which is pretty funny if you watch the movie, how he was acting. And to think that that's Conor in real life. But yeah, I think this guy, he's got to get off the cocaine, man. He's got to get off the fucking weed and the alcohol. And he's got to grow up a little bit, right? Because, like I said, these are all things that are fun when you're 18 to 25, or if you just make it big for a little bit. But to continue to do it, like, that's all you ever see of Conor McGregor now, really, is maybe sometimes he's out there promoting some fight promotion or something, or he's at a bare knuckle boxing event. But most of the time we see him, he's in the club, he's with some girls and shit like that, and I'm like, dude, you have a family, you have a pretty hot wife, and even if you did want to cheat, right, even if he does want to cheat, why the fuck are you doing it on some public beach with some, mid-tier ass hoe, right? So, I don't know what Conor McGregor's up to, man. I don't know what he's doing, but also I don't think he really cares a whole lot. Like I said, he made it. He did what he needed to do to get into that position. But it's just kind of crazy to see how certain people will handle success. It seems like he just got kind of, I wouldn't say complacent, but he just got comfortable where he was at. And he's like, oh, I can do whatever I want now, type thing. So the dick pic is definitely a crazy ass thing, because it just makes him look bad. It makes him look worse than if he's on a beach with some hoe, or if he's at the club, punching some dude. I think the dick pic it's just more of a embarrassing shock factor over anything else, right? Like, you're in the public eye for this, So, man, Conor McGregor. I wonder what if, 10 years ago when Conor McGregor was sort of at his peak, because I think that fight with Floyd happened in like 2016 or 2017. This is about 10 years ago. He beat Aldo, and then he beat Alvarez and all this. I wonder what that version of Conor would have thought of Conor now. You know what I mean? Because even after he got really, really rich, he did fight a couple of times, and he was like, I'm doing this for the love of it. And he seemed pretty focused. But after the first Dustin fight, especially after the second Dustin fight, he just went off the rails, man. He just went off the rails. And you see it too many times with actors, with musicians, with whatever. When you get to the peak, when you get to the top of something, and maybe it's like they feel like there's no mission anymore, like they already did, so they kind of lose purpose or meaning or anything like that. And I don't think Conor McGregor's depressed or anything like that, but he's getting older. If you do cocaine that frequently, and like I said, I don't know how his cocaine use is exactly, he's definitely on cocaine a lot. Okay, if you're showing signs of being on cocaine in the public, you know, in interviews and stuff like that, I don't see why you wouldn't be doing it a lot of it while you're not in the public eye, right? When you're alone. So, yeah, man, he's just gotta take a step back. And okay, yeah, what I was saying is, I don't know if he is depressed. I think he might just be, you know, like I said, living his best life. But he's getting older. You know, his health might start going downhill, and he might become these controversies, these kind of lighthearted controversies. I guess they're not really lighthearted; they're pretty serious. But he's not beating his wife like John Jones. He's not getting into hit and runs, but that shit might start happening. You know what I mean? So he's gotten in a lot of sexual assault allegations, and that's also why it's really not a good look that he's sending some random dick pic to this rapper when you've been accused of rape and stuff like that. So I just had to sneeze, guys. I don't know if you guys get allergies, but mine get pretty bad down here. Pretty annoying. I think the peak of allergy season kind of subsided a little bit. It was really bad like a couple weeks ago, but yeah. So Conor McGreggy is just wilding right now, and that's all I really wanted to talk about. He's been in the news a lot, so I thought I'd just hop on the mic, give a little ramble, give my thoughts. Like I said, it's funny how no one really, like, he can do all this, but he's still, like, no one really, like, hates him. Like, he's not really an outcast, you know? It's like everyone's, the media and everything, and fighters and people in the UFC brand are just like, well, that's, you know, that's just Conor type thing. You know, he's still getting acting roles. He's still a really big figure, public figure, even after all the controversies that he's been through. So, yeah, we'll see what plays out, but, you know, if he keeps going down this road, I think the news will only get worse and worse, and look more bad for him. So I hope he can kind of regain his clear level-headedness, I guess, because, you know, maybe this has always been how Conor is, naturally, but he always had fighting as kind of an outlet. So, I don't know, we'll just have to see. Yeah. My next video, I'm going to be doing a prediction video. And then after that, I'll probably do Hype Train, the biggest hype trains in the UFC, derailments. Okay, that should be a pretty fun video, because I love watching a good old hype train get humbled, get that good old knuckle sandwich, and teach him what's what, okay? Bo Nickel, he had a lot of hype, and what happened to him? He got kneed in the sternum. So that should be a pretty enjoyable video. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on the mic, ramble a little bit about all this Conor McGregor stuff, because it is pretty big in the news right now. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.